Hey, this is DecoyNoise, and today, me and you are going to go over another Am I the Antagonist thread in Am I the Antagonist for not letting my son's biological father see him now that he found out how I make money? So as always, we take the story, take it over to Decoy Court where I give you my knee-jerk reaction. I'll cover some of those top comments and the controversial comments, and the best comment on the video itself will get pinned to the top and earn that ever-coveted Decoy Koi coin. But let's go ahead and read the post. OP writes an update in the very beginning, so we'll skip that and read that at the end. So OP originally wrote, "Apologies for formatting, I'm on mobile. Also, a throwaway account for personal reasons. I, a 25-year-old female, have a 5-year-old son with my ex. My ex has not once seen or talked to our son since he was born. I raised my son on my own because his father had zero interest in being a parent and ended the relationship when I refused to get an abortion after we accidentally got pregnant. I never posted on social media about my ex being the father or mentioned it. When asked, I always said, my son has no father. Before the pandemic happened, I was working as a dancer at a very high-end gentleman's club, and I made decent money. I have been able to fully support me and my child without ever getting a dime from his father or the government. Well, now thanks to the shutdowns, I am out of work and have made an OnlyFans account so I can have income. Somehow, my ex found out my OnlyFans account and has contacted me saying he wants custody of our child because I'm not fit to be a mother. His only reason is my job. I told him that he's not a father. I did not put him on the birth certificate, and seeing as how I know I make more money than him, if he takes me to court, I will fight for full custody. He has now put all over social media what I do for a living, and even has pictures from my OnlyFans account posted. I have no idea how he got them and can only assume a friend of his is a subscriber. I do not tell family what I do for a living because I didn't want it getting back to my child when he's older. I'm now refusing to ever let him see my son and being called an antagonist for quote-unquote denying him his rights. But by the way I see it, we have no current court order and he hasn't spoken to me since our son was born 5 years ago. I feel he has no right to my child and shouldn't get to judge how I support us when he abandoned him. If I'm wrong, I'll accept judgment, but I feel like he's the antagonist in this." And they edited to add, "I will be contacting a lawyer first thing in the morning, and it is currently in the middle of the night here, so it'll be this happened in the last few hours." And the update at the very top was, "I wanted to post an update to say thank you for all your responses and advice. I did speak with an attorney this morning, and along with OnlyFans, will be pursuing a legal action. My ex is also a moron and publicly posted a long-winded post on social media, including the line, 'I would rather my child be dead than raised by someone selling her body for money. He shouldn't live that way, and I will be putting a stop to it,' among other vaguely threatening statements. My lawyer is currently attempting getting an emergency restraining order against him, and if successful, he does believe it will be granted. It will be pretty much guaranteeing that he won't be getting custody." So in a very one-sided obvious case, Decoy Court still has to give the judgment over the case right now. And obviously, you know what, let's not just blast the ex-boyfriend for this. Let's just go ahead and look at Exhibit A, which is, you know, the ex wanted nothing to do with you or the son. Okay, that's fine. It looks like the OP figured out a way to make this work, which brings you to kind of Exhibit B is, yes, so he finds out what you do and is enraged by it. Your situation and choices, you know, they aren't entirely his fault, but, you know, if you subtract your ex getting OP pregnant and then deserting OP probably doesn't end up working as a sex worker online. It's like what's the equivalency of, like, you know, every time I walk by my dog, I just punch him in the balls, and then later on the dog runs up and just bites me. Like, I can't complain. Oh my god, why is this dog so aggressive? What happened to you? It's my fault in some way, you know. Obviously that's a weird example, but I'm just saying that, you know, we can't put this all on the ex, but you can't be offended when actions have inadvertent consequences that, you know, you just didn't think were gonna happen. And which brings us to, like, Exhibit C, the very end, where his social media rant is basically snitching on himself for, you know, what a terrible person he is. You know, the situation sucks for OP, but at least she has to deal with an ex that's an idiot. Like, I'd much rather have stupid enemies than, like, evil genius enemies. This is like when James Bond villains give James Bond enough time to think about how to get out of a situation by giving them a long-winded explanation on how they're going to destroy the world and how they're going to defeat them. It's like, no, they're screwing themselves over. But as always, we only really want to judge OP in these scenarios, and obviously she's not the antagonist. You know, good on her for making it work when they're a single mother. Good on her for making it work when she lost her primary source of income and moved on to the next thing. A lot of people are going to come in to this comment section and my comment section and probably judge OP for what they're doing and me for defending the person, but I see this as like the ultimate sacrifice for their baby. very few kindergarten kids on like future career day are gonna draw themselves as like a single mom working as a stripper in macaroni stencil. Like, and here OP is doing exactly that. Like, you know, hate on me all you want, but that's just, I'm not going to blame somebody for being in a crappy situation and finding their only way out, but, you know, earn that Decoy coin, hate on me, tell me I'm wrong, give me some good information and feedback, and then, you know, you get pinned to the top, earn the Decoy coin on DecoyNoise.com, but, you know, pause the video, give me your feedback, and then we'll get to the top comments, which are all the way down there. Okay, so the top comment was probably the best comment, which is consult a lawyer, and then OP came back to say, I plan to call one first thing in the morning, but it's the whole middle of the night where I live, and this happened in the last 2 hours, so that makes sense. And a lot of the times we'll come across these posts where it's like, yeah, they're asking for advice that's beyond Reddit's pay grade, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with us giving you the court of public opinion. Decoy Court is just me giving some knee-jerk reaction saying, I have this particular background, so this is what I would do in this situation. This may be the right thing, the wrong thing, justifiable thing, unjustifiable thing, and I don't understand where these people are from. Sometimes they're from the UK, Canada, Australia, Korea, where the laws are different over there. So, you know, Decoy Court holds no value, and Reddit posts don't hold no value either. But at the end of the day, sometimes the best advice is like, hey, contact an attorney in your area that specializes in what you're doing. But let's go ahead and read the next top reply, which is, not the antagonist. I'd save the text regarding him pressing you to have an abortion just in case a judge needs evidence. I'm sorry he's being such a jerk. Just ignore him and carry on. You haven't needed him for 5 years. Now he thinks his opinion on parenting is warranted? Okay, bro. And then OP comes back to reply saying, I wish I still had those messages, but it's been 5 years. I never thought to save them. Which is true though. Like, who's, I don't know, maybe I'm spoiled, but who's had the same phone for 5 years? I think like 5 years ago is going to be 2015. So what are we on in 2015? Like the iPhone 4? Maybe I'm getting the wrong, but it's very rare that I walk around and I see somebody using an iPhone 4. Maybe it's because I'm in Los Angeles and people are much more into their tech gadgets and everything. So, but whatever. So let's go ahead and read the next top reply, which is, not the antagonist. He is a genetic material donor at most and has zero right to see your child. He can try to shame you all he wants, but as long as you're not hurting anyone else or endangering your kid, how you make money is entirely your business. The fact that he leaked your private images in violation of copyright law simply to try and spite you shows he has no regards for his child, or if the photos get seen by his friends when he's older, which he had not publicly blasted them over social media, likely never would have happened. Tell him that if he wants to make a deal out of this, you're not only fight for full custody, but also for child support payments. And that's one thing I always say is, whenever you have these stories where someone's in your face like, you're wrong, this is how it should be, and they're really pressing you, sometimes the best solution would be, okay, go on the offensive. If they really believe in their opinion or their side very strongly, if you go on the defensive, they won't back down. Like, no, I'm right. But if they know that they're wrong and you say, okay, actually, you want to start outing yourself as the father? I want back due child support payments for the last 5 years. I've made it work. I grit my teeth and just carried on. Now it's time for you, if you want to identify as a father, it's time for you to start paying your fair share, and maybe they'll back off and just that right there. But let's go ahead and read the next reply, which is, he told me if I don't give him custody, he will be taking me to court because he won't let a whore raise his child. I'm also extremely upset that OnlyFans did not better to protect my account from having images shared. I guarantee if he takes me to court, I will be pressing charge for defamation, probably defamation of character, and sharing images he had no right to, which is probably exactly what it's going to do. Like I said, like I'd much rather have an idiot for a rival than evil genius. This guy's just incriminating himself and making his situation so much worse. He's acting out of like desperation and knee-jerk reaction, which is, especially in terms of fighting for custody of your child, you probably don't, I want to take a minute, a deep breath, and just think about what you're doing before you jump head first in, because this guy's being an idiot. The next one reply was just asking them to consult a lawyer, and the next reply would be, not the antagonist. While yes, in society's eyes, the way you're making income wouldn't be considered right, but you're still raising your kid on your own and giving him a good life, and your source of income isn't illegal in any sense, so your ex has no basis to claim you're an unfit mother, though I'm not a lawyer, so I can't see how the court will see it. And just the idea that, you know, he doesn't really have an argument here, and just the idea that, yes, by and large, most people are kind of more traditional on the traditional side. I'm in Los Angeles, so it's going to be more of a liberal view on sex work and strippers and everything. But just the idea that, yes, most people wouldn't say, oh, yeah, like, that's the permissible thing to do. And most people, like, she said that she even hid it from her friends and family that she had an OnlyFans account and that she was a stripper at a gentleman's club. So yes, not even OP's too accepting of what they do, so it makes sense that he's not going to want that to be the way his son is raised. But at this point in time, he really has no claim to being the son, and this is a situation that he developed himself, so yeah, he has no place of saying anything. So last top comment of, Not the antagonist. First off, he's harassing you by posting images of you online, and depending on the nature of the photos, they might be classified as revenge, copyright infringement, and cyber harassment, which there are laws against in most states and countries. Secondly, if he's not on the birth certificate, he will need a court order to establish paternity and then contest custody, and good luck to him. The judge won't like hearing that he was missing in action for 5 years and come back to bully you and try to take your child away from the only parent they've ever known. Yeah, he's not gonna win this. This is just him popping off and just, I don't know, I guess I would just be guessing, like putting things in my head. Like he's sitting there throwing back beers, and one of his buddies is like, "Hey man, I remember your old ex. Well, she's got kids, and look, she's naked on OnlyFans." And now he's like, "What? I'm not gonna let that happen." And the whole pitchfork and torch situation where he's just knee-jerk reaction. He has no long-term plan. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's just popping off in the mouth because he's kind of an idiot. But like I said, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Let's go to controversial section to see if anybody has a different perspective on this, and maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're missing an entirely different, perspective on the point where this is bad for the kid. But let's go ahead and read the next reply, the controversial reply, which is, not the antagonist. You're trying as a single mother to survive, and he also owes you 5 years of child support to even being with, and he wasn't to even begin with, and he wasn't even there for 5 years. He has no rights. So that's controversial. Maybe he's just late to the comment, because that's pretty sound right there. And the next reply was, everyone sucks here. The father has no right to custody, and you have guaranteed a childhood of adolescence of bullying to your child. Yes and no. Like the idea that if the son goes to any of the middle schools in America, any of the high schools in America, if the kids find out he's going to be bullied and teased to no end because of that, and that's just the fact of the matter that's going to happen. I mean, does it suck? Yes, but whose more fault is this? The idea that the mother did whatever she could to make the kid not starve, or the idea that, hey, look, dad didn't come up to the plate when it was his time, and then also he abandoned them, so she had no other option other than to do this. Like, I don't want to say this is all OP's fault. I don't want to say this is all the ex's fault, but I mean, you can't say everyone sucks here and put it on OP, because what other options do they have? And they also got negative votes, but I could see where they're also getting that from, and they're thinking that. So let's go ahead and read the next controversial reply saying, not the antagonist. Honestly, I would block him on social media, email, phone, you name it. I highly doubt that he's going to start legal action. It sounds like he's bored and being a jerk, which they got negative votes, but the idea is he's probably just bored and being a jerk and just thinks that he's all high and mighty because he's a father or whatever the case may be. Sure, whatever. But the idea that's like, I would block him on social media, email, and phone, you name it. I kind of would probably keep my email open and my social media open so he can sit there and incriminate himself more and more, because he's obviously doing the wrong thing. Like, he doesn't know how to keep his damn mouth shut to not make his situation worse. But let's go ahead and read one more controversial reply, which is, not the antagonist. I mean, if the content is good, his kid will be well provided for, LOL. For real though, he hasn't been part of the decision-making process the whole entire time, and he doesn't get to be now. So I understand why this is controversial comment, because they're trying to make laughs and try to poke fun at OP and try to be like, oh, well, like, let's see those pictures or whatever. That's not beneficial to the thing. She's going through a custody disagreement with the father of her children, worried about not being able to pay bills, and also custody battles and all this messiness, and you're gonna come in here and say like, well, how good do you look? Let's see that. Like, no, that doesn't help anybody at all. But as always, as the channel goes on, I try to make more stern positions on these. Not necessarily, I want to be polarizing and a shock jock, but I just want to have something that people can interact with. Like, whether I do or don't 100% agree with what is being said on this channel, I'm throwing in a couple jokes here and there, but I want people to be able to disagree with me, say, hey, I don't agree with that, and put in the comment section, earn the Decoy coin by making me sway my opinion, and that just makes for better conversation. To all the people that see me say something and they just don't like the way I phrase it, or don't like, oh, I like everything else you say, but not that one thing. Now I have to say you suck and I need to unsubscribe and be all angry at you. It's like, that's not what the Decoy Koi Pond is about. It's about being able to hear different opinions and still be able to change each other's minds and still be cool with each other. Like, the idea that you only want to subscribe and listen to people that have 100% the same values and ideas as you is just like, oh yeah, I only want to be in a room with clones of me and have this echo chamber where we can all agree on everything and we never or have to be open-minded about something. We can just agree with ourselves and that's it. So I hope you guys are open-minded, and for the most part, everybody's having a good time and hanging out, making jokes, and having a good commentary with the r/DecoyNoise subreddit. Hopefully, we can get more communication. Opened up the Instagram account that's also DecoyNoise, and at some point in time, I will have the Discord channel open as well. So if you made it to the end of the video, I just say, hey, thanks for making this community as good as it is right now, because we're having a good time. Subscribe down below with the notifications on, because it really does help you see all the videos that get released. Go to DecoyNoise.com if you want to apply to become a moderator on the Reddit channel or on the Discord channel. But if nothing else, put this on autoplay and watch the next Decoy Noise coming up next.